السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد أفضل الخلق وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ازيكم عاملين ايه؟ يا رب دايما تكونوا بخير وفي صحة وفي سعادة. وأهلا وسهلا بحضراتكم جميعا في فيديو جديد. الجزائر دولة كبيرة جدا ودولة عظيمة ومكانتها معروفة في المجتمع العربي، ودايما بنشوف مشاريع جزائرية كبيرة جدا بتنال على ضجة كبيرة وبتعجب طبعا كل اللي بيشوفها. وكمان شفنا أو سمعنا مع بعض قبل كده الإعلام العربي والإعلام العالمي وهو بيتباهى بالتطورات والإنجازات الجزائرية. قد إيه شفنا مع بعض مشاريع كتير على القناة وإنجازات عظيمة قدمتها دولة الجزائر، وكمان مخترعين موجودين في الجزائر بيقدموا اختراعاتهم بشكل مميز. وقلت قبل كده معاكم على القناة لو الدولة استغلتهم استغلال كويس أكيد هينفعوا البلد وينفعوا طبعا البشرية بشكل كبير. وطبعا لو قدمت لهم الإمكانيات اللازمة هيقدروا يقدموا الاختراعات بتاعتهم بشكل جميل جدا. وشفنا قبل كده طبعا كمان مخترعين كتير جدا موجودين في الجزائر وخارج الجزائر وبيقدموا اختراعات رهيبة جدا. النهاردة بإذن الله هنشوف طبعا فيديو جميل جدا بيبين قد إيه الإنجازات الجزائرية مهمة وقد إيه الإنجازات الجزائرية بتنال على إعجاب كل اللي بيشوفها. نشوف الفيديو مع بعض وبإذن الله هعلق من خلال الفيديو. اتفضلوا معايا.
Guest, this young ambassador comes from Algeria. It's a country that has 30 million people and is the largest country in Africa. Has a huge, huge area. And in the middle of that area, there is a region called the Orisia Mountains. And this is really a story that impacted me because he told me that these mountains, there lives there a small civilization that has been in existence since year 7000 BC, and they are still alive, and they have been in existence for 9 years old now, and they have inherited all to the new generation, including him. He's an avatar, by the way. So he calls himself an Orisian, and his new company, Orisia, his new project, will give farmers of Algeria the possibility to have water, because it turns that thousands of families in Algeria do not have electricity, and the water is there in the ground and in the river, and they cannot get it because they don't have the means to get it. They don't have the energy to get it. So his determination is to give those farmers solar panels and the mechanism to take this water off the ground so they can survive, sustain themselves, sustain their families, and guess what? Create jobs, and he knows how. Let's hear from Taki Edine Jefal from Algeria.
Thank you, Oscar. You've definitely given me more than I deserve. Assalamu alaikum, Azul fil Lawan. What I just said is peace be upon you in the Arabic language, and hi everyone in the original language of the North African indigenous population. Ladies and gentlemen, counselors, young leaders, Pittsburgh citizens, and the millions of people watching us online. Okay, maybe more of a couple of hundreds. Thousands? Okay, let's not make K mad. The thousands of people watching us online, thank you for giving me a chance to stand before you with my fellow speakers and deliver our words that we hope are not going to stay here, words that we hope you're going to take back home with you and translate them into positive youth actions and movements. Now, really quickly, I want to see a raise of hands. Let's do this really quick. Of how many of you have planted maybe, let's say, 10 trees in the past year? Well, I see some hands. Let's go down to 5. How many have planted 5 trees in the last year? Okay, that's 6, 7. Okay, 1 tree. That's more like 20 to 50. Okay, so here is the deal. Since we're here making challenges anyway, I challenge each and every one of you, when you go back to your home country, before spring 2013 ends, to plant at least 10 trees and motivate 9 or 10 other people of your community to plant those trees. We will end up with 120,000 trees. That's almost as many trees as I have in my backyard. I live in a jungle. So let's get back to the subject. The environment nowadays is in greater crisis when compared to 1992, when the first Rio summit was held to wake up the earth on this crisis. And I think that all of us believe that with no doubt we need to take actions, and we need to promote the pledges and the outcomes of the Rio that just happened this year in Brazil, and of the Kyoto Protocol, because we are in a critical moment right now. And if we do not do that, if we do not follow this ambitious goal, then no 40% of fossil fuel subsidies will be reduced by the year 2020. Anyway, so right now we're a network of 1,200 delegates and ambassadors from over 180 countries, with each of us bringing his or her own experience to the table. Not like any news report that you have ever heard before when they tell you their success stories or their failures. It has a personal touch that would make you feel as if you were a part of their stories. I am so happy and glad that we can take advantage of this summit. Now let me tell you about my story with Project Orisia. It is basically a solar-powered pump for irrigation to be used by the majority of farmers in Algeria and Africa to irrigate their crops, farmers who do not have access to electricity, and farmers who have to use the diesel pumps to get the water to their crops. This project is basically a pump that you submerge in a well or you put in a river, and instead of using the diesel generators to power it, we use solar panels. The concept is very easy. And do not tell me that no one here can do that, or just because I am an engineer I can do that. No. Anyone here is capable of doing it. It is just of combining two technologies together and the product is there. Using diesel generators is very harmful for the crops and for our nature. You know, a liter of diesel emits about 2.6 kilograms of CO2 into the air. 3.2 tons of CO2 is emitted each year from a generator that only uses 0.5 liters in an hour. If we use that for 8 hours a day for 200 days a year, that is going to emit 3.2 tons. Now imagine the thousands, the hundreds of thousands of farmers who rely completely or partially only on these generators. How much would they emit into the air? I was inspired for this project from my father, who is a farmer, and who wanted an alternative way to raise his crops, who did not want to depend on diesel anymore. And it did not take long, and with the help of some students from an electronics student club, we are there. We are in the phase of development right now. And in March 2013, we are going to set the first product into market.
زي ما شايفين كده يا جماعة وسامعين مع بعض الفيديو، يعني بجد الله على الجمال. المشاريع الجزائرية يا جماعة بشكل عام ليها كده رونق خاص. يعني لما نشوف كده مشاريع متقدمة باسم الجزائر بتكون مهمة جدا، لأنهم بينتجوا يا جماعة ويصدروا باسم الجزائر. الجزائر قارة يا جماعة، يعني احنا بنتكلم في دولة بحجم قارة بسم الله ما شاء الله. يعني كل ولاية من الولايات دي لو قامت على مشروع أو قامت على إنجاز بجد يا جماعة يعني هتشرف الوطن العربي كله، يعني باسم الجزائر. دي حاجة بصراحة عظيمة جدا. وعاوز اقول لكم ان في مشاريع بتكون باقل التكلفة وبجد بتكون مفيدة للبشرية ومفيدة للبلد بشكل كبير جدا، وبترفع كمان من شأن اقتصاد البلد. مش هطول عليكم طبعا عشان نرجع للفيديو بتاعنا، لان فيديو كده شيق حابين نسمعه مع بعض ونشوف كده كمان المكانة المرموقة اللي قدرت توصل ليها دولة الجزائر. وكمان يا جماعة في مشاريع كتيرة جدا، وده طبعا مشروع من ضمنهم او انجاز من ضمنهم، بيقوم يعني في وقت بسيط جدا، وقت قصير جدا، بيقوم عليه في وقت قصير جدا. وده بيرجع لتفكير طبعا والإرادة والعزيمة الجزائرية. نكمل مع بعض.
Thank you. Some other thing that I want to talk about is about sustainability and sustainable development. A lot of us think that sustainability is just about the environment. I want to tell you, no, it's not only about the environment. For me, sustainability is about continuity. And I want to tell you a story of this young kid that I have taught for some years when I was in an English school. His name is Yassine. And this kid, when we introduced him to the word volunteering, he went home, he looked it up, and he wanted to experience what volunteering feels like. So he gathered some of his friends, and they started visiting hospitals, they started cleaning the streets, they started doing things that made them feel they were a part of society. But what amazed me the most about this kid is when they went to an elderly house. And they met with people who were 70-year-old, 80-year-old. You see this 14-year-old kid. He is not even our generation. He is the future generation talking to these people. It is a powerful moment when you see how sustainability gives back to the people who invest in youth. When you see that, it makes me want to invest in that generation after us. And it makes me demand, and ask all of you to demand from the current leaders right now, to invest in us and to give us a chance to be a part of the future. I am very happy that today is like no other. The uniqueness of the summit that have gathered all of us in here, under this roof of Pittsburgh building, this roof of hope, tolerance, and mutual understanding, must not stop here. We must take the outcomes and the pledges of this event and take them back home with us and translate them into youth movements and inspiring initiatives. And now at the end, we're not there yet. And it's funny how many people would stand in the way and discourage us and tell us that you cannot get there, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail. And I'm sure that this happened with all of you. But the real life answer to this is we have seen our leaders commit mistakes. Our responsible leaders committing mistakes repeatedly. So why not us? Let's all together put hand in hand and show the world what we are capable of achieving. Let's make mistakes. Let's make mistakes. Let's make mistakes. Thank you.
Okay, so
وبكده طبعا يا جماعة يكون الفيديو انتهى. أنا عايزة أقول لكم إن أنا دايما بكون فخورة بالشعب الجزائري، فخورة بتفكيره، فخورة كمان بعقليته الجميلة، عقليته فعلا اللي تسمى عقلية جبارة. لما بيكون عنده هدف لازم يسعى، ولازم يكون يعني عنده إرادة وعزيمة إن هو يحقق الهدف ده. بسم الله ما شاء الله بجد على المشاريع والتطورات اللي بنشوفها كل يوم في دولة الجزائر. مش كمان يا جماعة التطورات دي بتبهرنا احنا بس، لا بتبهر العالم كله. يعني كل حاجة فعلا بتقوم في الجزائر كل طبعا بيشوفها، لأن احنا عارفين مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي ما خلصش حاجة، دايما بتوصل فعلا للناس. فالناس بتبحث وبتشوف قد ايه الدولة دي بتشتغل صح، بتشتغل عن نفسها، بترفع من شأن اقتصاد بلدها. فدي حاجة عظيمة جدا. لازم كده كل جزائري بيشوف الفيديو يفتخر ببلده، ويفتخر طبعا ان بلده بتقدم افضل حاجة واعظم حاجة. وبسم الله ما شاء الله ومزيد من التقدم، بسم الله ما شاء الله عليهم. ربنا يحفظهم جميعا. وبجد الفيديو كان جميل جدا، يا رب يكون عجب حضراتكم. وشكرا طبعا من كل قلبي لمتابعيكم الفيديو، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مع ألف سلامة لحضراتكم.